When I ask my students about their experience with Spanish prior to taking my course, they often say something like this: well, I took 4 years in high school, but I don't remember any of it. Unfortunately, this all too common response highlights the disconnect between the way languages are often taught and the expected outcome of language learning. And this begs the question, how does someone learn a second language? And what can instruction do to best facilitate this process? To answer these questions, we first have to define language. I approach language from a cognitive perspective, one that is primarily concerned with what is in the mind and with how it gets there. Specifically, I adopt John Truscott and Michael Sharwood-Smith's modular cognition framework, a broad-based theoretical approach to language processing and cognition. This framework views language as a complex mental network of associations between sound, or the form of the language, grammatical structure, and meaning. This means that every time we learn a new word or rule, we're really building connections between language form and meaning. So, how do we build them? Well, research in the field of second language acquisition has long established that input, or meaningful language that is heard or seen by the learner, is the driving force behind this process. Of course, other factors also influence language learning, though their precise roles are somewhat less well understood. One of these factors is output, or meaningful language that is spoken or written by the learner. My research investigates whether input-based instruction in which the learners perceive the language, or output-based instruction in which they produce it, better helps them to understand and learn Spanish direct object pronouns. And crucially, because I want to get at what is going on in the mind, I use psycholinguistic-based assessments to measure how quickly learners process the pronouns before and after instruction. On these tests, changes in accuracy and speed are understood to reflect changes in the strength of the form-meaning connections in the mental system. Sadly, much of language teaching research is divorced from broader perspectives on cognition, and this means that many teaching methods don't often take into consideration what we know about how the mind learns language. By situating my research within a robust theory of cognition and processing, it sheds light on how instruction affects the learner's mental system. And as a second language learner and teacher myself, I believe that this will help language teachers towards choosing language teaching methods that result in successful second language learning. Muchas gracias.